Tonight we're driving the 2024 Lexus LC500 convertible. This particular car is a bespoke build, or at least it has the bespoke build package, which means that you can separate interior colors, exterior colors, wheels, and other options. We're driving a convertible, but with the coupe, you can get the option for a carbon fiber roof. This starts at about $107,000. As tested, this is just shy of 118 grand. You guys know me, I am a huge fan of the Lexus LC500. It's always been one of my favorite cars on sale, and probably one of the nicest vehicles made at any price these days. The build quality, the fit, the finish, the feel of just driving this car around on a daily basis is almost unmatched out there. The LC500 has one of my favorite engines. It's a 5-liter naturally aspirated V8 from Lexus. On the spec sheet, the numbers here aren't that impressive, but when you get behind the wheel and you actually drive this thing, it is an incredible experience. It makes 471 horsepower, 398 pound-feet of torque. That V8 is mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission. It's rear-wheel drive, and all bespoke LC500s come standard with the Torsen limited slip differential in the rear. Let's walk you guys around this car, and we'll take it for a drive tonight. This blue and white interior is stunning, and the exterior is painted in copper Crest. We have 21-inch wheels, which are a $40 option on this LC500. It's only 10 bucks a wheel. Pretty good deal, if you ask me. We spent a lot of time in LC500s over the years, in both coupes and convertibles. I've driven them on the racetrack at M1 Concours when they were part of their fleet. I've driven them around Michigan, out in Northern California, through Yosemite, and just south of Monterey, through Carmel by the Sea, and Big Sur. I've had some of my most incredible experiences behind the wheel in this car, and I've got to say, it still delivers, and it's just gotten better for the 2024 model year. One of the big updates is that we have the modern infotainment system now that Toyota and Lexus are putting in all of their vehicles. So it is a touchscreen only. We'll talk a little bit about that here in a little bit. That is a very welcome addition to the LC500 because it actually makes the climate control, the seat controls, the heated and ventilated seats very intuitive and easy to use. Gone is the touchpad, which was kind of a pain in the behind, if I'm being honest. Now, this car is just about perfect. They've gone through and massaged all of the interior ergonomics and usability and functionality here, and it's really, really nice to live with. Pop the trunk with this button right here, hidden on that taillight. And speaking of that taillight, look at these kind of infinity lights inspired by the afterburners on a jet engine. Very, very cool. Kind of a smaller trunk space here in the convertible, but enough to fit maybe a weekend bag or two. And here is your carrying case for the rear windscreen, which can fold back or remove entirely very easily. Not a whole lot of room in the rear seats. I did try to fit a forward-facing child seat in here earlier this week. It didn't quite work out. There wasn't quite room for my son's legs. So just a note, maybe if you got older kids who don't need a booster seat or a child seat, they might be able to squeeze back here. I've always affectionately referred to the LC500 as the Japanese Aston Martin, except it does the Aston Martin thing kind of better than a lot of Aston Martins do these days. The V8 sounds phenomenal. It's incredibly reliable and well built, and for the money, I think it's kind of a bargain in the market these days. Porsche 911s have been priced into the stratosphere, and everything else seems to have gotten way out of reach at this price point and in this class. And the LC500 is still sitting at around $100,000. You can even get used examples of these cars between 60 to 70 grand these days. Let's pop the hood, take a look at that 5-liter naturally aspirated V8. Everything else has gone turbocharged, and Lexus does offer a hybrid 3.5-liter V6, though I've never driven that. They've only had V8s in the press fleet that I've tested, and this engine is just phenomenal. Surprisingly fuel efficient. It's rated for 25 miles per gallon on the highway, 15 on the city, but I've averaged closer to 28, 29 miles per gallon on the highway. This 10-speed does have taller gearing, and because of that taller gearing, it feels like this V8 revs to the moon, even though the red line is still only about 7,300 RPM, but it's got one of the best fuel cutoffs and one of the best rev limiters in the business. let's get behind the wheel and take this for a drive. I'm not completely sold on this copper Crest color in combination with the blue and white interior, but that's the thing about the Bespoke package, is that you can customize your LC500 however you see fit. And I've got to say, this blue and white interior is just stunning. The leather is incredibly soft. The stitching is just phenomenal. You have a carbon fiber sill plate right here too. All right, let's look at this new infotainment. So this is all a touchscreen now, which is great. Pretty much the same setup that we've seen in a lot of Toyotas and Lexuses. You've got a few settings here and some menus. Vehicle history, fuel economy. We've averaged 21.3 miles to the gallon this week driving this LC500. Phone, music, navigation, and then CarPlay and Android Auto both connect wirelessly. You've got a water bottle, a cup holder right there. Here are your controls for the convertible roof. You can roll all the windows up at once with this button right here, or you can use these buttons to the left, but those only roll down the big windows, not those rear quarter windows. You've got another cup holder down here, and then some storage space in the center console, along with 2 USB ports under your armrest. The Bespoke build gives you this little plaque down here, along with a signed document of authenticity from the chief engineer of the LC500 and the head of marketing. The rest of this interior is laid out pretty intuitively. We've got your seat memory settings over here, HUD controls, pop your trunk and fuel filler cap, physical buttons for your display brightness, traction control off, and drive modes over here with your little Shrek ears. That's very nice. I've mostly been driving this in comfort this week. And then your climate controls are all very easy to operate right here with these toggle switches. Love to see that. We get a heated and ventilated seat button right here, whereas before you had to go into the infotainment to do that. Now it's just a quick press. Right here in the middle, you've got your machined aluminum volume knob, very smooth operation. A button for quick access to your camera view. When you're in drive, it shows you your forward-facing camera. When you're in reverse, your rear-facing camera, or going into reverse will automatically pop that up. Driving position here is fantastic, nice and low, tons of adjustability with your tilting and telescoping steering wheel. Love these paddle shifters too. Seats are very, very comfortable. I've spent some long road trips in these cars, and you just want to keep driving. You don't want to stop. You don't want to get out of this chair. It's fantastic. Here's your glove box. Really nice felt lining on the bottom there. All right, let's go drive this LC500 and see what it's like on the road. Over the years, Lexus just keeps fine-tuning and massaging this LC500. It just keeps getting better and better in some very subtle ways. Gearbox feels a little bit smoother. That limited slip differential seems to put its power down a bit better now. This is such a nice and refined and smooth driving experience. In convertible form, this is also, I think, it's about the only convertible that I've driven that has 0 wind buffeting at speed. You have to have all the windows up, but it is incredible how peaceful and silent it is here with the top down. The aerodynamics are truly something special. In every single convertible that I drive and test for you guys, I usually have to wear a set of earmuffs around my ears. These little 180s earmuffs. They keep your ears warm in the winter, but they also keep the wind from getting onto my binaural microphones, which are in my ears. And this, you don't have to do that. You don't have to wear them. You get these lovely barks from the exhaust on shifts above 4,000 or 5,000 RPM. This 10-speed is a lot more responsive and engaging to drive than the 8-speed in the GSF and the RCF was. It does deny a couple downshifts here and there, but for the most part, it is just a pleasure to drive. And you can really enjoy that soundtrack in the convertible LC500. It's surprisingly loud back there for being a Lexus. We'll go under sport mode. This isn't necessarily a car that wants to be driven hard, but when you do open it up, it's very, very satisfying. You mostly just want to hear that V8. The torque converter automatic kind of drags, shifts at lighter throttle, wide open. It's pretty quick to change gears. And it'll let you bounce off that rev limiter all day long. It's just amazing. When you're just driving this around casually, it is a very comfortable experience behind the wheel. The 10-speed has a few rough shifts when it's cold, but once everything warms up and gets up to temp, it smooths out a lot more. Ride quality is pretty good. Comfort mode is nice and soft. Sport Plus stiffens up a little bit. You get a different gauge cluster here too. Oh, and also, one of the coolest features. This combination between mechanical and digital gauge cluster is just awesome. I love it. Lock us into manual mode, have a little bit more control over our gears. It's a fun car to drive. It splits that difference between GT touring car and sports car just perfectly. It's sharp enough while still remaining really, really comfortable. It looks amazing. The only thing is, whenever I drive one of these LC500s, I can't quite shake the feeling that you kind of need to be over 62.5 to drive one of these things. You gotta be drawing Social Security. Maybe that's just me. That's all in my head. It's such a fantastic car. I will definitely own one of these someday. It's that good. Let's knock off a 0 to 60 here. We're in Sport Plus. We'll turn off traction control. No launch control or anything like that. We'll just get into it. to 60 in about 4.5 seconds. It's no slouch. Let's put the top up while we're on the highway. We can do this at speed. I think about 30 miles an hour. And with the top up, this is also a very serene and quiet driving experience. A lot of insulation here with a soft top. Also, once the car kind of figures out that you're driving spiritedly and you're having a bit of fun behind the wheel, it does a good job holding gears at higher revs. The transmission programming kind of shifts over into a fun mode. You don't really need to use the paddle shifters as much. Alright, here we are at speed. We have radar cruise control, lane centering. It all seems to work pretty well. Put us into comfort mode. Ride smooths out a little bit. We have 3 settings for distance control. 70, 75 miles per hour. This is a really, really comfortable experience. A little bit of noise from those tires, but overall, virtually no wind noise at speed, which is amazing for a convertible. Listen to that. Where the LC500 shines is that it's kind of an event going out in it for an evening cruise. Probably the perfect date night car. Excellent for weekend road trips. It's one of the few cars that you get behind the wheel of and you just don't want to stop driving it. It sounds amazing. It's so comfortable. It's just so nice. It's such a well-built, solid-feeling vehicle. Lexus's build quality has gone downhill a little bit in the last couple of years. I'm not as impressed with their new interiors, their new materials, their switchgear. It just doesn't feel as high quality, but this LC500 is some of the best build quality I've ever seen from Lexus. It's just incredible. We've driven Rolls Royces and Bentleys and Lamborghinis. This doesn't really feel lacking compared to those options. And at a fraction of the price. Now, with the updated infotainment and some of the extra customization, I think the 2024 model year makes this a really compelling year and reason to buy a new LC500. If you want to save some money, you can always get yourself a new used one, but this is the most cohesive and complete LC500 that I've driven thus far. And it's still reasonably priced. You could go easy on options and get out the door for around 110 grand in one of these. The Mark Levinson sound system is unbelievably good. It's just fantastic. It's maybe the best Mark Levinson in the Lexus lineup. We'll spare you guys a sound system test tonight, just because we've done a bunch of them. Guys, I think that's a drive in the 2024 Lexus LC500 convertible Bespoke. Very special car, near and dear to my heart. My wife absolutely loves it. I said I'll probably buy one of these someday. Chances are she'll probably buy one of these someday because she loves this thing. As soon as we can fit the kids in the back, might have one in our driveway. We'll see. All right, that's gonna be it for this one. We'll walk you guys around this one more time, and then I'm gonna go drop this off at TheTopher's house. Looks good as a convertible too. Nice proportions. No awkward lines on this LC500. It's a good looking car. I like these wheels too. Definitely a fan for $40. Gotta love that exhaust note on cold start too. What else has a V8 that sounds like that now? That's just awesome. And again, I can't stress this enough. Zero wind buffeting at speed here. 78 miles an hour, just cruising with traffic. And I'm not getting any air in the cabin except from the vents. Just incredible. Alright guys, that's going to be a wrap for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this evening cruise in the LC500. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.